This podcast contains explicit content.
A hardly focused production.
You are listening to
1 full hour of rip-roaring rap music.
The balance beam.
Prepare to engage.
Hi, am I on the air?
Yep.
Fuck.
The Acc and Jack Show.
The Acc and Jack Show.
Those two damn boys, Buford and Bernardo.
Hello, we are the Acc and Jack Show. Chris Acciardi, Jack Gill, Nate Fillers. We are presented by the Solid Listen Podcast Network and Hardly Focused. You can find us at accandjack.com. That is ACCandjack.com. Some of the things that we might get to in this episode. The band The Killers doing something really cool for their fans in the UK. Video games that seem almost inexcusable to have never played. But first, we are going to try to be as neutral as possible discussing this obviously sensitive topic because, this is the first episode of the show that we've ever recorded following the attempted assassination of a U.S. president.
Yeah, hopefully also the last, but, you know, who knows?
Hopefully.
In this crazy world.
Yeah. I when the news broke this past Saturday, admittedly, I had a thought that crossed my mind that I think probably a lot of people had. And then as time
I had a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, well, as time went on, then just seeing how other people were reacting and just as the facts were coming out too, because there's always when big things like this happen, there's always going to be that period of misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
And then, once the facts came out, I realized, hey, maybe I should try to look at this from a different point of view. The point of view being anything like this is bad and it sets a bad precedent. And it wasn't good in 18 whatever when Lincoln was shot. It wasn't good in 63. It wasn't good in 81 when Reagan got shot.
Mm-hmm.
So
some would disagree, but
yeah,
about all of them, even so. But it's like,
yeah, the gunman's for one.
Yeah,
well,
they clearly had a reason.
Hinckley had, when he shot Reagan, was doing it for Jodie Foster. He was trying to impress somebody.
If you're gonna kill someone, that's a really good reason.
Yeah,
but of all people, Jodie Foster, really
in the 80s.
I don't know. Silence of the Lambs came out, and she looked like how every woman in the 90s looked, with that haircut and that pantsuit, trying to pull off your best Hillary Clinton impression. So Jodie Foster just never did it for me. But to each their own, Mr. Hinckley, who's been released, as far as I know, has been released from prison.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is fun to or fascinating to see, in the first hours after an event like this, everyone's wondering oh my God, was he a leftist? Was he a Biden supporter? Was he Antifa? And you got to remember that given the history of assassins in this country, both successful and not, the better odds are the Easter Bunny told them to do it. These do not tend to be people with very coherent or well thought out political ideologies.
I mean, we live in the age of an ever present mental health crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in this day and age is mentally ill to some degree, and social media, the internet in general, is fueling that. Name one person who is totally 100% fine.
Richard Simmons.
Oh, come on.
Man, you beat me to it.
His body's not even cold and fabulous yet. Come on.
I was like, somebody dead. Name somebody dead. Somebody dead a long time ago or recent. And then you were like, got it. I'm on this.
Yeah, I mean, that alone, the number of people who passed away over the weekend too. And then this thing with Trump happens, and all that gets overshadowed.
Yeah, I do. Can I just can I break the fourth wall for a minute here and reference your show prep?
Sure.
Or at least, unless it's been changed since I looked at it earlier.
Yeah, believe it or not, we do show prep.
You have a section written down, Trump shooting, and then a section right below it, people who died. And my brain is thinking, oh, it's going to be the shooter, the one person who was killed at the event. And then I'm like, Shannon Doherty, Richard Simmons, Dr. No, that's not right. I don't think any of them were at the event. Hey, what is Jeff talking about?
Wait a minute. This isn't your enemies list. This is Richard Nixon's. You just crossed out his name and put your own.
Good reference.
Yes. I bet you can't guess what program that's from.
Yeah. The Simpsons.
Yeah. I mean,
wait, you never watched The Simpsons, though?
I've never watched it. Never once.
That's crazy.
Never, ever once. But yeah, I'll tell you this. I was, I guess I'll go first. Where were you when it happened?
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a wedding, and Becky has joined us in the studio. And
hi, Becky.
I'm there.
Hey.
Hello.
I'm there with her and her family. And during the speeches, the best man speech, the maid of honor speech, all of that, my phone just starts buzzing. And I kind of take it out of my pocket and look at it. And I just assumed, because we have a group chat, and I figured, the group chat was bumping. And that was not the case, because I saw one notification from the group chat and several notifications from quite literally every news service that typically sends me notifications. And they kept, they were just coming in, but because you know how the phones are now, I have to, stare at my phone to get it to unlock to actually show me the content on the screen. And I'm really trying hard not to make it obvious that I'm on my phone while the father of the bride is giving his speech.
I think I turned to you and was like, get off your phone.
You probably did. You probably did. And
That's
then,
wild.
And then once everything was done, I look at my phone, I see the news, and then I look at Becky and I say, I need to tell you something, and I need you to react as nonchalantly as possible. And it was because this is about to blow the fuck up.
Yeah.
And then Becky looks at me and just goes, you need to work on your whispering. Because I have a problem with whispering, apparently.
We had a talk before this, and I said, Jack, you're really not good at the whole whisper thing. And I tend to the second I see him go for my ear to whisper anything and there's someone else present, I stop him. I'm like, you're not going to do this right. Mm-hmm. And I did do that this time, but you proceeded.
I tried. I caught myself. Did I whisper? Did I actually whisper?
This is one I was kind of like, what? So I don't remember.
Yeah. Case in point, we'll be in the presence of Becky's parents, and I'll lean in and go, do you want to bang later?
That's what you kind of do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I tell her, Becky,
or even worse, when I whisper something and then you are like, I can't hear you. What are you saying to me? That's rude.
Look, I'm deaf. All right. Too many rock and roll concerts. But sort of fascinating being in a room full of people and seeing the news travel and seeing everybody react in real time.
It was game of telephone. Watching everybody then flip their phones over, see the whisper. It was fascinating. That
sounds like scary in a way, because if you're the one guy that doesn't have his phone with him, and everybody's getting alerts, wait, what is it? Is there something coming towards is this a meteor? My brain would immediately go towards it's the end of the world, or there's a bomb coming, a nuke or something.
Same.
The very last thing I would probably think was what actually happened. That is the last thing I would have thought of.
Yeah, same.
And Acc, you were the reporter for the group. You're the one that actually messaged the group first about it.
Yeah, the first message I saw on Discord didn't mention Trump's name. They just were like, did you guys see what just happened? apparently he survived. Things are going to get crazy. And my first thought was Biden. My first thought was like, oh, Biden slipped and broke his hip on a stage somewhere or something.
They used the word crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything happening to either of the candidates, this is already going to be an insane election. And every event is going to continue making it insane and more insane. But like, yeah, I just assumed it was a Biden thing, something age related. He hurt himself. Because all I picked up on was he survived, and I went, okay, so Biden is injured but alive, and then I don't know what, I went to Twitter, or some website, I went somewhere, and then when I saw the full news story, I went, oh, yeah, that's not what I expected at all.
So my one little add to that is I feel like a bad person because my immediate thought would be like, okay, well, crazy describes Republicans. Stupid describes the Democrats. So the word crazy would be like, okay, this is something the Republicans did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to think about and really dive into the, I guess, like logistics of the event when everything transpired, because the big question right now is, how did it happen?
Right.
Like, how could something like this happen? But at the same time, too, I'm also kind of surprised that just not only how volatile everything's been in the last 10 years, 8 years, 10 years, and even the 8 years before that. I'm surprised things like this don't happen more often. I know that.
Yeah.
That's what
I think there's probably a lot more attempts that get completely foiled before, they get off the ground.
Yeah, Becky, you found a list, right? Of like.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a whole Wikipedia page, and I went down that rabbit hole. I don't know. This was like maybe a year or two ago, and most of them I've never heard of, and some of them seem to get pretty close to happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think every day something happens, like to the extent of some crazy person, trying to scale the fence of the White House, someone trying to break in, or even just making a written threat or a verbal threat, what have you. The fact that, before this past Saturday, unless I'm blanking on some other event, I think the last big attempt at a president's life is when George Bush successfully ducked 2 shoes that were thrown at him.
Yeah, I can't think of any other for presidents. I know the other big event that I've seen this compared to was the guy who broke into the Pelosi house and was intending to kidnap and torture Nancy Pelosi, but as she wasn't home, just hit her husband over the head with a hammer.
Right. Which is funny when it happens in cartoons, not funny when it happens in real life. Like
exactly. He didn't have a big comical cylindrical lump rise out of his forehead and see little chickens dance around his head while going cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo.
Yeah, it turns out real life is a lot more brutal.
Yeah, it hurts a lot. It causes severe damage.
It's kind of gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really makes you think that it truly isn't good when it happens, regardless of who it is, right? Like,
it doesn't look. Yeah, it's bad. Like, I mean, I want to go on record here, and this ties into what you were saying, Jack, about everyone being mentally ill these days, and I do think to a point that is true. When everyone's wondering this guy's political affiliation is, he was a registered Republican, but was he radical? Was he, a leftist? Does he hate Trump ideologically? My argument above and beyond all those things is you shouldn't be able to get a gun that easily, no matter what. Right. Even if you agree with me on everything, I don't trust you to be able to walk around with a gun.
And yet
you shouldn't have that power. That's
yet
my
you still
stance.
have people from like the NRA that are saying if they had their guns, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
it was his father's gun, wasn't it? The shooters.
Like, I don't know. I haven't heard that.
But he was also part of a Yeah. Okay. And he was also part of
He
like
got it in 2013.
and he was also part of a
like,
shooting club.
shooting group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently bad.
If I can also break the fourth wall here, I think this might be. And now I have difficulty speaking in general, despite my desire to want to steer the ship of a long running podcast. But this, I think, is the first time in a very long time, if at all, in the history of the show, where I'm actually like trying to be as careful as I can with how I articulate what it is we're talking about here, because it's
right.
I mean, you don't want to.
It's hot button. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a fire that's not going to go out, and anything that anyone says or does is the equivalent to it's verbal kerosene.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. With that in mind, though, we didn't really go over what we shouldn't. I mean, because there was a whole separate reaction that everybody else had, right? About it. Tons of conspiracy theories that were happening, which I don't want to give life to any of the conspiracy theories. I don't want to talk about that. But the fact that there were conspiracy theories, just kind of paints a picture of where we're at right now.
Right. Yeah.
When you just see something happen and you're like, this seems like it's part of it.
Yeah. I'm never given to conspiracy theories, but one of the first thoughts I had was, watch this be planted. Watch this whole thing had been orchestrated, and obviously that's not the case.
I could still see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we don't, as far as I know, we know nothing about the motivation. And I don't like to speculate about that because, again, end of the day, I don't think it really matters that. I mean, it matters a little to try to like identify the sources of extremism and try to tamp down on them. But again, I don't think there's like a motivation that would be like, oh, well, that was actually a really good motivation, good for him. Like, no, it's a bad thing that happened, and you shouldn't do shit like that regardless.
I mean, it's just like what sucks when the perp is taken down, and it's like what happened with the Vegas shooting.
Right.
You can assume, but you're never going to know what the.
But were they?
Yeah, you're never going to know what the real reason was.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't want to say it's a good thing Hinckley wasn't killed, because we got the gem of I did it to impress an actress.
Right.
But like, you really do want to know, like, okay, what was the motivation? Why did you do this? It would be a shock and a half to learn that it was anything but politically motivated. But then President Biden said it in his address to the nation the other night, that the political battlefield should not be a literal battlefield. It should always,
right. Yeah. And it is just, it's hard for me to imagine someone being so pumped for Biden that he's like, I'm going to go, Joe Biden's the guy I'm going to go kill someone for. Fuck yeah. Riding with Biden. Let's go. Like,
that's the one I'm doing. This
he doesn't really,
shit.
I think Biden inspires, going out to vote and then coming back and having a warm glass of milk and going to bed early. That's the kind of political revolution I see him inspiring.
Yeah. Gone are the days of Mitt Romney joking with Barack Obama about how there's no one better to spend his wedding anniversary with than his political opponent during a nationally televised debate. Gone are those days. Now we have to worry about gunshots ringing out at rallies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I do think Trump himself has been one of, if not the most key figures in raising the temperature to the point it currently is at. Mm-hmm. But, still shouldn't kill the guy.
I was thinking about that the other day. Like, whenever you see, okay, granted, it's on a car, but whenever you see a United States of America flag
on
a car, it's never like "Go Biden." It's never like there's always like the blue line with Trump 2024.
And that's sad to me. I wish that liberals could do a better job of reclaiming patriotism, because regardless of the current situation we're talking about, I think largely Democrats love America a lot more than Republicans currently do. I think, I haven't read up much on the RNC speeches today or what's, we don't know what's coming in the next few days, but if the past few years are anything to go by, they tend to be a lot more America is a festering shithole. Everything sucks here. Why can't Daddy Putin come and liberate us? And the Democrats are a bit more, hey, being American is actually pretty great. And we should be happy that we're American and work to make
we
the
don't have it
country
as bad as some people.
Yeah.
Chill the fuck
And
out,
let's and in the areas where we can improve, let's work to improve because we're American. We can do that. We have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And, it sucks that despite this shift in rhetoric, Republicans are still seen as the party of patriotism and loving their country.
I
mean, that's what I think when I see a flag. As sad as that may sound, but when I see a flag, so like that was like, and that even so was further by the photos that came out from the rally. He's got the flag behind him and he's like putting his fist in the air. Like it's like, wow. Like the flag means something different now.
I do want to ask you about, Nate, that's something you brought up in our group chat pretty much right after this happened. But Becky and I were on the Cape last week and so Cape Cod, Massachusetts, obviously it's a very large, let's say geriatric population. It's where people go to retire, especially in Massachusetts. But at the same time, like, I don't know if it's right to say that like the Cape is largely blue. Massachusetts as a whole is a blue state, but I don't know like what the Cape is. But at the same time in Massachusetts, I don't know about you guys, very rarely do I ever see vehicles driving around that have American flags planted in the beds and placards all over that say Trump 2024, fuck Biden, Kamala's a hoe, etc. And we drove by one of those.
But I had commented right before that. I said, I feel like this is very blue. I had made the observation. I felt I was seeing way more of that. But then, yes, we did end with one truck on the way out that it was like, okay.
And this is right before like quite literally like the day before the shooting happened. And then today I drive out to where Kate lives to go pick up the dog. And there's like, I've always said that Massachusetts is like the best of America in a single state. Because once you get like, into the western part of the state, you're in like a completely different world at that point. And that's where it's Trump country out there, and it's I drove by so many homes, and I drive this route regularly, so many homes that now have Trump 2024 signs in the front yards that did not have those a month ago. And you can think like, oh, it's because we're getting closer to the election, but then I don't know if, because a lot of them didn't look like they look handmade. They also are handmade, so you'd have to think, okay, are people doing this because of the shooting? Because this is how they're reacting to what happened on Saturday. I'll also say, too, over the last couple of days, people have been absolute fucking assholes. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I've seen more like angry people just out and about like in the last couple of days than I have in a while. Just people just being assholes for either like road rage or just being very curt. And like, I'm going to bite my tongue the way I phrase this. I'm going to attribute it to what happened. People are upset about what happened the other day. And this is just, there's a subset of people that are just going to be in a perpetually sour mood now, indefinitely.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything.
I haven't left the house, so
I think it's the heat.
I don't drive, and I literally don't think I've gone outside since Saturday. So
the one time my dash cam of my car has finally proven useful, and it was to watch someone having a low key public freak out. So I'm just gonna say this is someone who's upset about what happened the other day.
It's a very stressful time for sure.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
Nate, go ahead, Acc, and then I want to ask.
I was just going to say about your observation about the western half of the state. What you do have to remember is we do tend to categorize things as red states versus blue states. But really, in every state in the country, the more urban the area, the bluer it is. The more rural the area, the redder it is. So it really comes down more to, does the state have a higher urban population or does it have a higher rural population? Like Montgomery, Alabama is going to vote blue more consistently than East Hampton, Massachusetts.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, I was driving to the boonies today. So, yeah, that's a good point. Although Becky and I did go to Springfield, Massachusetts last week. And what a dump.
I'm all set.
Did you have trouble getting through the giant burning wall of trash to get to the city?
Yeah, where the area codes are split.
We got there. I said, I want to go home.
Yeah, like the
Springfield is better in The Simpsons. Dun, 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 dun.
That's what I said. The Simpsons can have it.
Yeah, we checked out the MGM Springfield just because we like going to casinos, you know, and I've never seen the Springfield casino, and I've heard it's a casino, and we went. And I'm all set. I'm okay. Cool.
We're good.
Yeah.
That's where I filmed Karen.
Oh, okay. All right. That's
for all of you diehard listeners that have listened to every episode. You'll figure it out.
She has a nice butt. She was showing it off on Instagram today.
That's what she does, apparently.
I love Karen Fian. She constantly posts stuff on Instagram that gets taken down because it's too risque for all of the cosplayers and like the Instagram models that like posting what are called lewds. Karen's the only one that actually seems to consistently get content removed.
Yeah.
Although there's a difference between lewds and just straight up just showing your tits and really doing it to bait.
She's sunbathing.
She is, yeah.
So it's not like she has a bathing suit on, whatever.
She was good on that show you like, Becky, with Shane Gillis on Netflix.
She was.
She was really good. What's that show called? Tires?
Tires.
Yeah, it's actually, I actually was surprised at how much I enjoyed that show.
It was fine.
Hardly Focus presents the Acc and Jack Show. Hardly Focus presents the Acc and Jack Show.
When we were the young generation, we behaved normally on the internet by going to steakandcheese.com and watching morbidly obese people take messy diarrhea shits into each other's mouths. All right? That was how the internet was meant to be used, not this weird stuff they're doing these days.
So, Nate, I would argue it was reactionary because you said it shortly after the news broke on Saturday, but you said that he won. That this solidifies what's going to happen in November. And I've been, admittedly afraid of how things are going to play out because it's not obvious. It's not a given right now. And I also very openly will say I don't like either candidate. I don't like I also
they both suck, yeah.
And I don't like the independent candidate as well because he is being controlled by a worm. So I will once again default to the guy with the boot on his head, who I will remind everybody came in third place in the New Hampshire primary in 2016 because that's how bad it was. But anyway, I'm a little more afraid now of just how things are going to play out because something like this, and you mentioned earlier the photos, which by the way, right off the bat, multiple people are winning Pulitzers for those photos.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was a phenomenal photo.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but it was a perfectly shot photo.
Yeah, all the photos. The photo of with Trump with the flag behind him, the photo where you can see the bullet approaching him, that is a once in a billion shot right there. Mm-hmm. But Nate, you said that Trump this will all but guarantee his win in November because of this. When you see the photo, when you see his reaction, the fist pumping, the chanting, the cheering, the imagery to go along with it. I mean, that, I hate to say it, but like if that doesn't say USA, I don't know what does.
Yeah. I mean, that's where most of the feeling came from, is that just one picture. Yeah, the flag waving in the background, even though it's a photo, it's still waving. And you have Trump. Well, we already talked about it. He has it's like it screams like political propaganda. So that's why a lot of people had conspiracy theories about it. But I think the first feeling that I thought when I saw that was just defeat. Like, it's just the one thing that Republicans are really good at doing is using any situation that happens to them, using it to their advantage.
Yeah, they're kind of shameless. They
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just there's no like moral anything. Because like, I mean, like, if you look at, when Trump was at a rally, he was like mocking the attack on Pelosi, like,
yeah,
it was like making fun, like, saying like, oh, if she was for the walls, then maybe this wouldn't have happened,
Right. And I think, end of the day, I do get that impulse to be like, oh, this is going to win him sympathy. People are going to become more pro-Trump now because of this. I think at the end of the day, Trump is biologically incapable of not being a weird little freak. And I think he's going to remind everyone that, like, yeah, it sucks that he got shot, but I don't suddenly like the guy.
Right.
Like, he's not someone who engenders sympathy for him, because he will run his mouth. He will just be obnoxious. He will be terrible. And people are the same 80 million people who turned out to vote during COVID in 2020, I think are going to remember, oh yeah, this guy fucking sucks. And I hate having to listen to him.
So,
and I think that is our greatest hope going forward.
Yeah. After Biden called Trump, and I want to call out that you would expect a president to do that. You would expect a president to react the way that Biden did. And Becky, I'm going to echo something that you and I were talking about the other day here. So bear with me, but then maybe this time I'll articulate it better, but don't put any money on that. Trump, I feel, if it were the other way around, would have to be directed and given a script, basically, like have to be, even if he would want to do it willingly, there need to be some coaxing and nudging, and it wouldn't, you would be surprised. I think people would be surprised if Trump's first reaction would be, I got to call Joe and make sure he's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a photo from when he was president. He met with, I think it was survivors of a school shooting, and he was holding a script in his hand, and you could see it. And like, had tips like, make eye contact and tell them you hear them and stuff like that. Like, pretty straightforward things. And yeah, like, I don't know if you saw what I had shared right before we went live, but there was a story, the widow of the man who was killed at the rally.
Yeah.
Biden called her and she didn't answer. And her reasoning was, my husband was a devout Republican. He hated Biden. He wouldn't want me talking to him. So I didn't answer. I don't blame Biden. I don't think he's responsible for this, but I have no interest in talking to him. By the way, Donald Trump has not reached out to us.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating. It's deeply fascinating to me that Trump did not reach out to this family. Biden did. And this is still going to end up being a pro-Trump incident.
I think it was reported that he is going to his funeral.
Yeah, I mean, he better.
That's what I'm like. Could you
Yeah,
imagine?
yeah.
He should, but at the same time, does it surprise you at all that he hasn't? I mean, obviously he's got a lot going on.
Is there
but
any
like,
chance this could change him?
I
No.
doubt it. So I
I mean, the
saw.
first words he screamed was fight,
Yep, true.
fight, fight.
So there was a article that came out just yesterday from someone who allegedly spoke to him saying it did make him spiritual. He had a very profound reaction to it, and he's going to change his convention speech to be less anti-Biden and more pro-unity. And my response to that is, I will believe it when I see it.
It's same. And even, I guess, passing comments that were made on Saturday, maybe Sunday, after Biden reached out to him. And I guess the phone call was a short phone call, but it still, it happened. The fact that that Trump even picked up is kind of shocking to me. But then I guess a passing comment, and it came from a source close to Trump, said that Trump wants to possibly be more civil between now and November with how he and Biden are, I guess, debating, facing off, however you want to phrase it. But again, it's if
he could do it, I do think that would be the smartest strategy he could play. Like, if we're just talking strategy, and everybody needs to watch out for that.
Yeah, because it goes back. It goes back to the when January 6th happened, and it's how Trump's words are received. It's how people understand and respond to things he says. Like when he said, and I forget the exact words, but I think it was like, we're going to march on the Capitol or whatever. And, Trump could have meant that hey, let's have a peaceful protest out in front of the Capitol. But of course, everyone who follows him said pitchforks and torches and weaponry. And
they sure seemed to get the message loud and clear.
Yeah. And I don't think it helps that Giuliani, I think year before or after, just said hey, let's bust down the walls. That might have been a thing, but I think Becky is right that the best strategy would be for Trump to moderate his tone. And I think he could absolutely use this event to gain a lot of public sympathy and a lot of support to his cause. The thing is, there are about 30 billion instances where that would have been the best strategy for Donald Trump since 2015. Yeah. Right.
And he's never done it. No. And I think there's been this constant sort of waiting on the edge of our seat. Is this the day Trump is going to become diplomatic? Is this the day he's going to become a moderate? Is this the day he's going to become measured and intellectual? And that day has never come. And at this point, I really doubt it's ever going to. I think it's hardwired into him.
Yeah.
Does it really help him though?
I think so. I think that America has a very strong, inherently conservative lean. And I think we have a lot of institutional systems in place that help Republicans, generally speaking. I think Trump, in so many times when he's failed, if he had done the bare minimum of trying to reach out to independent voters, he could have won. I think Trump could have and should have won in 2020 if he had taken COVID the slightest bit seriously.
Yeah,
I just think that there have been Trump had the opportunity to win big in a time of national crisis, and he flopped it because he's physically incapable of rising to meet the moment. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of squishy moderates in this country who don't like Trump, but would love the excuse to be allowed to vote for him. And Trump just keeps failing to give that to them.
I also think it's very difficult to come back from a map of the United States and taking a Sharpie and extending a section of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not buying this. I'm with you, Chris. I'll believe it when I see it. But for me, that seems like it would be a bad move for him because a lot of people like him for how like wild he is and like how he does this. I feel like if he were to be like, now we probably should, we should probably smile and be friends. We should all be friends to each other. I'm sure that would piss off so many of his supporters and would just be a bad move for him.
Well,
I don't think they're going to change.
I don't know. I think they would find their reasons to decide it's fine that Trump did that and they'd still vote for him. The issue is Trump's base has a very hard ceiling and they are always maximally engaged. And that wasn't enough for him to win in 2020. So what he has to do, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look up like actual vote counts in the like 2020 election, but basically Biden won by 7 million votes, right? So anytime anything Trump says anything, ask how many of those 7 million people did Trump just win over to his side?
Mm-hmm. Even if he wants to be more civil, even just talking about Biden or even being more subdued with rallying, campaigning, being thankful to be alive, basically, I feel like that would only last a few weeks before.
He's completely anti-gun.
Yeah, all of a sudden, his tone changes just because of that. The dude is literally missing a chunk of his ear.
Now that I want to say I could actually see, and that has precedence because Ronald Reagan signed a gun control bill after he was shot, and Trump is one of his many qualities is he's deeply self-obsessed and self-centered, and realizing, oh, a gun could shoot me might be enough of a push to make him realize, okay, I don't like that anymore. I am now anti-gun because I didn't realize that they could hit me before. I thought they could only hit other people.
Do you think, and then I'll throw it over to you, but do you think Trump in the last 8 years has walked away from rallies or anywhere he's basically out in the open or in front of large crowds and saying to himself or even thinking to himself, hey, I didn't get shot. I didn't get attacked. Do you think that's ever crossed his mind before Saturday?
No, probably not. And I mean, to be fair, it wouldn't cross my mind either. I
think about that every single place I go. So it would be chronically on the brain.
So let me be clear. I do have very high anxiety of dying in a random shooting just in my daily life. But I'm talking about I tend to assume that the institutional Secret Service and security details are doing their job. It's not that I'm thinking, oh, no one wants to attack these high profile politicians. It's just, oh, obviously that's not going to happen because they have the best in the world, ensuring the area is secure and locked down. Mm-hmm. I do also want to make a quick throwaway here just to say that the worst right-wing accounts on Twitter have found a way to make this the fault of women and minorities by saying that the Secret Service has DEI hires, which is why they failed to stop the shooters. And if we just hired the best white men in the country, this never would have happened.
Didn't that neo-Nazi say the same thing about Kamala Harris? Didn't he call her a DEI hire?
I don't remember who said it, but yeah, someone definitely did.
Yeah, the Hungarian guy. I can't remember his name, but...
Are you talking about Ian Miles Chong?
No.
Because he's Malaysian, yeah.
I was saying that name doesn't sound Hungarian.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. He's like this Twitter agitator who's very pro-Trump, and every time he posts something like, we are 100% behind you, Mr. Trump, everyone in his comments is like, my brother in Christ, you are a citizen of the country of Malaysia.
Sebastian Gorka is who I was thinking of.
Okay.
Nate, before I throw it over to you, because I think you wanted to say something, and then there's I know we're trying to time box this episode, so there's a couple of other things I want to get to related to this news. And then everything we teased at the beginning of the episode, there's a reason why I said might, but I do want to play this. So Reagan, as we talked about, Reagan was shot in 1981 and survived. And then 2 months after that, he's giving a speech. He's out in the open and a balloon pops. Now, what does a balloon sound like when it pops? It sounds like a weapon. This is Reagan's reaction.
Many traditions of openness and democracy that have marked the history of this city. America missed me.
Never heard that before.
I haven't either. That's smooth.
Didn't even miss a beat. Like, he just looked up, said it, and then like looked back down at his notes and wanted to keep going and only stopped because the crowd reacted. But Nate, I'm sorry. I know you wanted to say something and we veered far off.
It was a very long time ago, so I don't know if it's even relevant anymore, but I'll just shoot my shot and see what happens. That's what that means, right? Anyway, you said
that's a pun.
You know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Thank you. Anyway, you were saying that Biden won by 7 million people or whatever. That's what, it's about how many of those 7 million. It's not about how many of those 7 million are now Trump supporters. It's how many people that's not what this election is about, in my opinion. It's not about like how many people between now from the last election has Trump won over. It's about how many people Biden has lost.
Yeah,
and
how many people tune out.
How many people are just not going to vote? Because like the thing is the strong side of Trump is that he gets people to do things. He can really get the full force of the Republican Party to go out and vote. Now, Biden, on the other hand, he just fucked it up a lot. And I think that's why I'm so concerned about this, because it's not a matter of the reason why I feel Trump will win is based on the fact that the Democrats aren't going to go out and vote, or not even the Democrats, just the people who hate Trump. They also don't like Biden, and they'll just be like, I don't want to vote for either of them. So I'm just not going to.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a possibility. I try to project confidence for the Democrats. I'm not saying that they're definitely going to win or they got this in the bag. I mostly sort of talk from the hypotheticals of how I think they can or should win. But you are right. It's going to be all about turnout. And, again, Trump's base is maximally energized at all times, and Biden's base frequently isn't. And, that's why I, for one, am going to be a huge prick to everyone constantly every day between now and November that, suck it up, pussies, and go out and vote.
I mean, the thing I want to put out there, it's not the popular opinion, but it's the right one, is that for this election, you hear this every election, but it's very relevant to this election that if, let's say you hate both of them, by you not voting for Biden, you're voting for Trump.
Right.
If you don't vote for either of them, you are also voting for Trump. You are giving the vote to Trump. So keep that in mind when you think like, oh, I hate both of them. It's not about who you like. It's about who you hate more.
Right.
And not voting for them.
I do think 2016 was an eye-opener for a lot of people. I think a lot of people who hated both Trump and Hillary Clinton kind of had the idea going in that Hillary was obviously going to win. So I don't need to show up.
I don't need to vote. Yeah.
I don't need to vote for someone I hate because obviously Hillary's going to win. Trump is a joke.
Yeah.
And I think 2016 made people realize, okay, all right, he's not a joke. I have to take it seriously. And I'm willing, I personally know people who were very anti-Hillary in 2016 and immediately after Trump won, flipped that switch to, you never again. I am anti-Trump until I die or he dies. hopefully of retirement, 10 years from now,
Yeah,
obviously.
I play this drop a lot on the show, but I mean, Stephen Colbert put it perfectly.
Yeah, we all thought it was a joke. Then election night came around.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So that's why I do still think that
There's hope.
There's hope. I think people will grumble and people will wish it were someone younger and more energetic and more coherent and less mealy-mouthed and less tired looking and less dusty than Biden. But I think at the end of the day, they'll remember, yeah, I really don't want Trump to be president again. That was exhausting every single fucking day for 4 straight years. I can't go through that again.
I really wish I could have that mindset, because I don't, just with the way we're headed, it's just like, it just feels so defeated in the fact, like, this, the way the Democrats have handled this situation completely is like, you guys just fucked everything up, like, just really bad.
Well, now, which situation do you mean specifically?
So, I mean, just this whole election process, okay, so first of all, we'll go way back to, it wasn't a good look to go after convicting Trump during the year of the election, because that just yells like, hey, we're just trying to do this. Like, you had time to bring it up and you didn't. But more what I'm focused on is the way that it was kept in the dark, that Biden's mental abilities might not be exactly what you think they are.
Yeah.
And that mishandling that alone is like, okay, before the debate happened, people were like, I don't want to fucking vote for any of these people. And then the people who saw after the debate, they're like, Welp, the choices are a liar or a guy who can't connect sentences.
Right. See, having watched the debate and having really not liked Biden's performance, I do think he did very poorly. I didn't get any vibe of mental incompetence there. For me, it was all physical, right? The guy is really tired, really old. You know, he's always, I mean, for as long as I've been alive, you can go back and find articles of him flubbing people's names and stuff. People will point out,
that's true. Yeah.
Oh, he called, Zelensky Putin, and he called Harris Trump and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, but he was doing that stuff 30 years ago. That's not a new age thing.
Yeah. The dude also has a stammer. Like, I mean, whether or not, like, you want to attribute the goofing the names up to mental acuity, the guy's also forcing himself to try to compose a sentence without repeating the same word.
Yeah. So I don't think until I see otherwise, I don't believe there's any mental decline. I will absolutely concede there's physical decline. The guy, looks like he's going to drop dead every time he has to walk across a room.
Yes.
And yeah, I would love it if that weren't the case. It would make me feel so much happier and more comfortable if our nominee were younger. But again, I got over it. Maybe at the convention, he'll give a speech passing the torch and make Kamala Harris the nominee. But I'm not convinced that's the cure-all tonic to Democrats' electoral worries that some people think it is.
Well, no,
I mean, there is no cure, really, though. Even if they were to change their nominee, like, that would just fuck it up even more, because that would water down the Democratic vote, because people would still vote for Biden. They'd be like, but then they would also vote for whoever the fuck they are like, oh, this is replacing Biden. Because, I don't know, people are just like, they don't seem to get, I mean, how many people voted for Bernie last election when he wasn't running?
Yeah, people do
like
that. It's fascinating to me. Like, and again, we do talk about there is a persistent media narrative about Trump being very strong and Biden being very weak, and there are areas in which that is true, but Donald Trump, as the former president, de facto leader, and incumbent of his party, was getting like hosed by Nikki Haley in Republican primary races months after she dropped out. meanwhile, Joe Biden wasn't on the ballot in New Hampshire and won as a write-in candidate over like RFK Jr. and fucking Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson and anyone else who I can't care to remember their name. So, I don't think the inevitability is baked in yet. And again, there's a lot of work to do, and it's going to be tough, and it's going to be nerve-wracking. And I say, hey, if you people wish we had a younger nominee now, you should have voted for Pete Buttigieg in 2020. Missed our chance there. Oh well, what are we going to do about it now?
Yeah. So I'm not the most educated when it comes to politics, but my understanding is that even if you don't like Biden, like I obviously would prefer someone who's not 81 years old to be leading the country. But at the same time, and correct me if I'm wrong, this could be completely wrong, but you're electing obviously the leader of the party, but you're also electing effectively everyone who is in high command on that side. So you're obviously you're voting blue. So you want, it's like, okay, I'm going to vote for Biden, but that's because I want all the people that I like on the Democratic side to be in place. All the people who support LGBTQ rights.
Yeah,
and,
you're assuming people understand
and trans
that,
rights.
though.
Yeah, and like that's what I want. Even if it's just to get Biden in office, so on his first day he says, "Hey, it's come to my attention that I'm old, and I need to transfer. I need to invoke the 25th so I can transfer powers to the next person in line, that being Vice President Harris." That's like why I would vote for Biden. I don't want to, but it's to keep everyone on his side in office. And
exactly. And it's worth keeping in mind, I think, and this will kind of segue into the other big piece of Trump news, is VP pick that was announced today, is in 2016, there was a strong push on Trump from the Republicans to be as much of a normal Republican as possible. That's what, Mike Pence was a very boring, normal Republican, suit and tie, standard Christian, what you'd expect of your typical like 90s Republican. And a lot of his nominees were like that. You had like his chief of staff, John Kelly, and, people who were the adults in the room, people who they were Republicans, they were conservatives, but most people, regardless of party affiliation, agree it's good that they were there so that when Trump said, why can't we just nuke the hurricane? They could go, no, Mr. President, we shouldn't do that. And it was good that those people were there. In 2024, that isn't the case anymore. The party has changed. The Republicans have become Trump. And we see that in the fact that his VP pick, JD Vance, is just mini Trump, right? Trump picked the most sycophantic lickspittle that he could. This isn't a candidate. This isn't a pick to win over any other voters. This isn't to shore up any other part of the Republican coalition. This is a guy Trump wanted because he sucks Trump's ass. And I think that's going to be his cabinet in 2024. It's going to be the most right-wing, extreme, like Groyper, fucking like insane 4chaner, like weirdo freak, like that you can imagine. It's just going to be a cabinet full of absolute lunatics and sycophants. And I cannot begin to explain how terrifying and horrifying that would be.
And it's going to be a revolving door too, because if you remember between 2016 and 2020, I mean, how many press secretaries did we go through? For example, the fact that Scaramucci is now used as a term, is a measurement of time, for example. Whereas like Trump was even giving Biden shit, and I think it was during the debate about how Biden hasn't fired anybody on his staff in the 4 years that he's been president. And like, for example, he's had like 2 press secretaries. He's had I'm blanking on her name, I apologize, the redhead, and then Jean-Pierre, Karine
The only one I
Jean-Pierre.
remember is Jen Psaki.
Jen Psaki, thank you.
Yeah.
And I probably butchered both of their names, but whereas Trump was like gloating about the fact that he was like constantly firing people as if he's treating it like it's, you know, a Fortune 500
TV show
business. Yeah, exactly. Like a reality TV show. It's like, dude, that's not a good look. People make fun of you for that. People that were were part of your staff have since gone to prison. Like what you're gloating about is abnormal.
Yep.
And yet it doesn't seem to matter to them.
Or they turned on him. Or half of them turned on him after the fact. Like, oh God, I'm forgetting everybody's name, but you know what I mean. But now we have the reverse.
Well, a lot of them, you know, they were there. They didn't really say anything at the time, but then as soon as the administration was over, they all came out with their books about how, you know, I was the only sane man in the room. I was trying to keep him from doing all these terrible things, and it's like, well, gee, if you had come forward with that information, maybe it would have changed some people's minds at the time when it would have been useful.
Yes.
Do you think there's any? This is a wild card, but so it's JD, right?
Yes. Yeah. JD Power and Associates.
Okay, so
JD Vance from Vance Refrigeration.
Is there any? Okay, done.
That was good.
That was good. Well played. Is there any? What are the odds that? Because JD before all of this was calling Trump the next Hitler and was like, you know, this guy's the worst, and he was really bad mouthing him. Is there any hope that he's just switched sides to get into the vice president spot, but he's still Trump is Hitler? Like he's like a double agent, kind of like
that would.
I know that's
me,
wild,
but it would also be the coolest thing that has ever happened in modern American politics.
And that would be cooking for a long time. That would be like in the Dumb and Dumber sequel when I think it's Lloyd is pretending to be paralyzed or disabled, like had a stroke and was like going along with a joke for the last 20 years just to like reverse it all of a sudden one day, because he flipped a long time ago. JD Vance, he flipped. He this is going back to his hillbilly book, whatever it was called, and then
Hillbilly Elegy.
Yeah, it was only after the book came out that he and then only within the last few years did he recant his Hitler comments. It would be so goddamn funny if
those are so very different views, though. Like, I don't see how you can just change, like, go from like he's Hitler to like he's the best person I've ever seen.
Unfortunately, the answer seems to be a Republican. Because there have been so many like that. Ted Cruz, right? Ted Cruz famously snubbed Trump during the 2016 RNC.
Right.
And then
but then by like sucking his dick, he got to where he is now.
Months later, you know, got brought in and, you know, became a whip lick spittle. And Lindsey Graham, what can you tell? I like that word. I've been using that word a lot.
I'm today. Googling that word. I'm like, oh, I haven't heard this one.
The other one, Lindsey Graham, who was the most outspoken anti-Trump candidate in the 2016 Republican primary. And he sparked a lot of conspiracy theories because he went golfing with Trump once. And then after one day meeting with him, immediately switched to being 100% pro-Trump, which led.
Are you a gang rapist?
So I'm not saying it's like possible, but I'm like, wouldn't it be the fucking coolest? That would be on like the level of what if Jar Jar Binks was really a villain?
I love that theory, man.
That theory was so beautiful.
The sequel trilogy really should have lived up to that theory.
Right? I mean, that it would be that level cool.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit, that's some fucking secret agent shit if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
But I doubt it. But I want
that
it.
Would be amazing.
That would be fucking cool.
One of my professors in college, the poli-sci professors he made a comment once. And this was like in 2007 or 2008, was like, you know, everyone anywhere that close to the office of the presidency wants it more than anything. So if I were Barack Obama, I would not be alone in a room with Joe Biden. Like, that kind of speaks to that theory. Is JD in it for the long game?
That would be crazy.
I do want to move on since we have Acc only for just a few minutes
20 more
more.
minutes.
But
People died.
I do want to move over just to the logistics with, what happened with the shooter on Saturday and how he was even able to get to where he was. But first, do you take any stock in the news that's been reported about Obama being among the, mouthpieces close to Biden urging him to step down?
I have no idea. And I don't really think it matters to me right now. But my stance on it is I'm going to be a pathetic shill for whoever it is. So long as Biden's the nominee, my stance is long live our glorious, wizened elder statesman. The moment he steps down, my stance is going to be, yeah, fuck Biden. I always wanted Harris more anyway. If they make it someone else, I'm going to be, yeah, fuck Biden and Harris. I always wanted to be this other guy anyway. I'm ready. I'm ready to be a complete pathetic shill for whoever the nominee is.
All
I hope it goes that
glory
way.
to the brain worm. All glory to the brain worm.
I really would hope it goes that way. I mean, I guess I'm so pessimistic this episode. Sorry, everyone,
That's
but
fine.
it just makes me feel like if they did go with somebody, it would just water down the vote, and it would just because he needs everything right now. But you could say those people that watered down the vote by voting for the other guy probably weren't going to vote.
Yeah, the whole thing is just going to be a gamble, right? It's like, are there people who don't want to vote for Biden but would vote if Harris were at the top of the ticket? Probably. Are there people who want to vote for Biden and would not vote if Harris were at the top of the ticket? Yeah. Probably. How do you find out which group is bigger? Polling is fucked. I don't know how, there is no one answer to this that I think is going to be that's the obvious one. Why don't we just do that?
Jon Stewart's the answer. Jon Stewart is the answer.
Yeah, and the night this episode's recorded, guess who's not broadcasting The Daily Show tonight? It was supposed to be live from the RNC.
This is our time to shine.
Out.
It's like, if he ran though, I can't really think of too many people where I'd be like, if he ran, I feel like he would get a fuck ton of votes, so much that it wouldn't matter. I'm just saying, that's the first one that comes to mind.
I'm just
Tom Cruise, maybe.
I don't want non-politicians in office. In the pre-Trump times, I remember there being a lot of, why is every president a politician? Why can't we have a scientist or a businessman or an astronaut? And now after Trump, I'm like, I don't want that anymore. Politicians first, please. And if you want to get into politics, no.
Ukraine has a comedian. Just saying.
Ukraine's also at war. The country's getting bombed daily.
Ukraine?
But did he? I honestly don't know much about him. Did he have a political role before he became president, or did he go right from comedian to president? To me, that's the issue.
I'm pretty sure it was a stepping process.
I'm fine with stepping.
I'm pretty sure he got into political stuff and.
You know what I've been saying, and Becky will either love this or hate me for this. I don't know where this is going to go. I think Taylor Swift.
I'm ready. Yes.
Taylor Swift will flip any state.
She's
in
all
the
we have
country
right now.
Jack is one of my
if
friends.
she runs. If she runs for Senate or governor, where's she from? Kentucky or Tennessee?
She's actually she's
Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, Pennsylvania born, moved to Nashville.
Okay, so she's in Tennessee. If she ran for Senate or governor in Tennessee, that's a safe blue seat for the rest of our lives.
She could be president and still do Eras Tour. I think she could do it.
That's so I don't want any celebrities going right to the presidency, but I fully encourage, if Taylor Swift or anyone like her wants to run for Senate or governor, you have my full go ahead. Flip those seats for us, baby.
No one like Taylor Swift.
No,
she might just win because that's a name people put in that blank that line at the end when they're like, I hate everyone.
The write-in.
It's and that could accidentally, she just wins.
That's your blank slate.
The blank space.
Blank space.
Nice.
Yes. There we go.
It's so funny.
I
That's actually too perfect.
if only I got
that's the song she has to like run on.
if only I got the song title correctly.
And I'll write your name.
Did you also hear? Did you see Mr. Beast's presidential platform?
Oh God, was it cheeseburgers?
The candy bars.
Yeah, candy bars. That's all we see.
He posted a tweet, and honestly, it is one of those like really. It's like an I am 14 and this is deep level thing. I can bring it up, but yeah, he announced that he would like to run for president as soon as he's old enough, which is like another 15 years before that'll be the case. But
yeah.
Why don't we all just stop doing bad things and do good things instead?
Oh, thanks, Rodney King.
Basically, what it boiled down to is, I would be a president who does not do bad things. I would be a president who does the good things that people want. And to which everyone responded with, "Wow, cool, man."
Yeah, thanks, John Madden. In the game of football, the team that has the most points wins.
Yeah. What what the thing you need to do is you need to get the ball down to.
Oh, here we go. I found it. If I were president, I wouldn't care about party lines. I'd just always truly make the American people my number one priority. For problems I'm ignorant on, I'd have experts from both left and right advise me on them and try to find the middle ground that is best for America. I would not be buyable. I don't care about doing things because my party says I should, and I would focus on uniting the country instead of dividing it. Anyway, we can pick this up in 15 years when I'm old enough to run. Ha ha.
He wrote
this response was generated by.
He said this in all seriousness, right? Like this wasn't just
my
satire.
Understanding is this was like sincere. He was saying he wants to run is when he's old enough to.
How old is he?
That is the most
20, I guess.
What?
I would have thought he was older.
No,
that's the most ChatGPT thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Look, when you're getting
it really is.
When you're getting buried alive for weeks at a time, that's gonna put some age on you. You'll be
26.
old. Okay, I'm still. I mean,
I'm still shocked at that.
He's still well under the
he said in
age.
15 years, and the age to run is 35.
Right, so close enough.
In 9 years.
Okay, quickly, the shooter on Saturday, it's mind-blowing that the police, that people in the crowd, first and foremost, were pointing to the guy saying, there's a guy on the roof, there's a guy climbing the roof, there's a guy up there, okay, he's got a gun, all right, he's pointing the gun, and nobody did anything.
Right.
It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing that
it is very bizarre. Yeah.
That a cop went up there, looked him. I mean, obviously you're bringing up, a lemon to a knife fight in this case, but the cop looking at the guy and just, nope, never mind.
That's got to be one of ours. That's the only logical explanation.
Agree. I was going to say they saw that kid and thought, well, this is just the average Trump supporter, so we're good. we're in the clear.
Yeah. Well, okay. You made my response sound more funny than it was.
Oh, well,
because I'm just thinking like they probably thought it was like part of the Secret Service because that makes sense because it's like, oh, there's no way they would let that building go unchecked. It's got to be part of the service.
Really,
they're up there to make sure everything's
weird
safe.
Miscommunication.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh shit. Nope, wasn't because like as far as I'm concerned, the building wasn't too far away, and it's a building, and usually what Secret Service is supposed to do is make sure that buildings are clear.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
So the first, I guess, claim or argument, however you want to look at it, is that the building was outside of the perimeter established by the Secret Service, and I guess according to them, if it's outside of the perimeter, then it's not on them to, I guess, protect it. But at the same time, the fairgrounds where the shooting occurred, where the rally was happening, there's like 3 buildings, so it's not like the guy just climbed up. It's like Main Street in any city USA, and it's like we can't distinguish which building he's on. Like, okay, there are 3 small buildings on here. It's the guy who's on the building,
right?
Who obviously isn't a Secret Service agent because he's not. He's wearing a gray shirt and he's got long hair.
Exactly,
and he's got an AR-15. Like, who the hell else could it be?
Right.
Well, you can't see that from that far away.
I think the Secret Service dropped the ball there. And then Becky, you were saying the other day about just the, I guess, cluelessness or just the reacting in that situation, which obviously it's a thing that doesn't happen every day, every time these agents are out in the field. But there was just a lot of running around like,
Well,
okay, what are we doing?
My commentary was, it was just interesting. Like, I have no idea what's legit and what was like, if everything went, when this happened, if everybody moved according to plan and that was perfectly executed, I have no idea. Versus if they completely were flubbing up and fail. I don't really know what it looks like. I just assume there's going to be chaos. But seeing the internet, and I know, Acc, you had said this too, right? I know there was a lot of commentary on some of the women versus the men in that situation. But I was just, I don't know, observing that. And I was like, damn, I really don't know though what good looks like and what it doesn't. Never mind, it's obvious the shot it shouldn't even have gotten to that place, but forgetting that piece, when it actually happened and everyone moves into operation and they're grabbing those stills and they're like, look, this girl's over here right now. Look, this girl's not tall enough. I don't know. It was just an observation. I have no idea what to make of it, but
what I make of it is it's just it's interesting and not surprising that right-wing groypers on Twitter managed to take a cis white male shooter and make it women's fault somehow.
Oh,
that's just how it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
No, I immediately felt guilty once this happened.
Yeah, it should have been me on that Secret Service detail.
Right.
I would have kept him safe.
I mean, I know it's so early, but it did feel like there was a complete absence of information right away. And I'm like, somebody say something, because this is when it fuels all this
this
crazy
is where
talk.
all of our minds are like, do. Because like immediately, I mean, I want to say it, but also debunk it at the same time. If you want, you can cut it out. I don't care. My immediate thought was like, oh, this was planted. This was staged. Like, but then I was immediately like, how does that work? So if anybody ever thought about like, a sniper staging this event, we're talking like somebody's okay with like, okay, you get a little envelope that says, hey, we need you to pretend to assassinate the president. Lol. Like if that's your job, what part of your brain thinks like, okay, so they're going to kill me after this, right? Because like there's no way I'm allowed to be alive afterwards. So this is definitely worth me doing.
Well, I think people would do it. I mean, if you want to go there, right? You have.
But to die?
But yeah, you die in a plane crashing into a building for whatever your cause is. Like, I mean, I know there's all different ideologies, but I think you can take vulnerable people and sway them if somebody wanted to.
Yeah, my main
but it's crazy
thing about that in this case is, why would they pick a 20-year-old who clearly doesn't aim very well?
Yeah, because I mean, like that, you wouldn't want him to make a mistake.
Yeah, if you're a shadowy organization, looking to make a conspiracy here, presumably you have access to better talent.
Yeah, you're right. You would want to hire somebody that wouldn't fuck it up.
If it's not actually who they said it was.
Yeah.
But maybe they didn't care. Maybe they're like, well, whether he nicks his ear or shoots his head, like,
yeah, what we really want
those are the results.
It to be a near miss and then a bunch of uncertainty to happen. This would benefit us somehow. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean,
it's
again,
it's a conspiracy theory.
I think
exactly.
it
I'm
could
not
be a possibility. I would
guy.
never say it's not, but I think
it's pretty unlikely, because once I heard who it was, that's when all of my thoughts of that went away. I was just like, well, nope, that doesn't check out, because it would be a different person. They wouldn't pick like somebody who all the reports are saying he sucked, unless he's in it for the long game, the long con, like the other guy, like our JD guy. Maybe maybe everybody's in it for the long game.
I don't know.
Unfortunately, he did the Bugs Bunny thing of drank a glass of nitroglycerin and then now watch carefully. I can only do this trick once.
It feels like, though, if you're going to pick someone to do this, right? This is fun. This is sport right now.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
I mean, wouldn't a 20-year-old boy be that's who always seems to be the people that are, these mass shooting situations. It feels like that. Well, that's the fit.
I mean, I've seen that comment as well. It does seem like, based on what we're hearing about the kid, he kind of fit the mass shooter
if he just
profile.
wanted fame, and that's it.
This might have been his version. This might have been his, what? It's either this or shoot up my local mall, and I'll probably get more famous if I take out a presidential candidate. Maybe if Biden had visited his town, he would have tried the exact same thing. Maybe he just was just in it for the infamy. I don't know.
I feel like in the end, that's probably what it was anyway, more than any real political
that's what
persuasion. Yeah, it's just notoriety, something to do.
Yeah. And that's why, end of the day, I don't really care what his motives are. I think it would have been better if it were harder to get guns, no matter who you are in this country.
But it is crazy, though. I think everyone should be outraged. How
we are.
No. How like I don't know how you're not scared it feels like there's something not working in the Secret Service, and I don't want anyone to die. That just scares me.
I mean, that's their whole purpose is to protect.
Yeah, that's why they exist.
I know, and that made me be like that.
They failed at their one job.
Oh shit! Oh no! My god! Because if the crazies, if Trump's crazy supporters are like, is that easy?
Yeah,
I could be a Secret Service
I could just
agent.
crawl anywhere and do anything.
I can wear sunglasses.
You can't let them know, but you can't let them know.
The thing that
I don't know. I don't know.
The thing that I got irrationally, or maybe rationally angry at, however you want to look at it, is when Trump gave his statement shortly after the shooting and praised the Secret Service for doing a fantastic job. Bro, they didn't do a fantastic job.
He might honestly have not even known all the details yet at that point, if that was right after.
Yeah, I mean, I guess sure, they did a fantastic job of whisking you off the platform after you spent several seconds demanding you put your shoes back on because you literally got knocked off your socks. But no, their basic responsibility of protecting you were 1 inch away from them failing 100%. They really only failed 90%.
Yeah,
they could have only failed worse if the shooter was successful.
And because it was so wide open, it just feels like you didn't see him. What?
Yeah,
they didn't need a good They didn't need a good Secret Service because they had Jesus.
That's true. That is true. You keep hearing that.
It's a Kirkland Secret Service.
Jesus protected.
God very gracefully guided the bullet into a random passerby.
And that flag was in an angel shape prior.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I actually, somebody that I am connected with, I don't use the word friend, but there's somebody in my feed that did post a picture of Trump with his dimpy hat and just dimpy face, and there's a Jesus just holding him. And it's almost hilarious, but also very sad.
He also shared a photo of him, doubled over with blood coming down the side of his head and a hot dog in front of him. Someone photoshopped.
I did share that.
Yeah, it will forever be just deeply fascinating to me that Joe Biden is sincerely a devout Catholic, and Donald Trump is quite possibly the first blatantly atheist president we've ever had. And the evangelicals of this country think one is the second coming of Christ and the other is the Antichrist. And boy, will it surprise you which is which. I will never stop finding that just incredibly fascinating.
I don't know. It's kind of came out that the state that has the highest religious count also has the least educational count. So
yeah. I mean, that's consistent across the board.
And that's kind of his target demographic, because he knows that's the easy way to go. This is people who can't think for themselves is like, and I'm not saying like all religious people are that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just like more like statistically, that's what the data shows.
It is the easiest way to explain
like,
anything away that you can't explain.
Ack, I know you need to leave us, so
yeah, I do have to head out soon.
That is I would say that's probably a strong note for you to exit on. I mean, there's one more thing I wanted to discuss with the room, and Ack, I'm sorry you're not going to be there to.
You are the weakest link.
That's okay. I trust you guys to have a good rest of the show.
We'll need him back when we go through, because remember that truck that drove through the White House gate? Like that was considered an attack. I want to go through the Wikipedia someday.
Okay.
That'll be fun. The super secret list of attempted assassination show.
Yeah, that'll happen before the Karen Reed episode.
Yeah, I know. Someday you'll get it in December.
All right.
All right. Well,
thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah. Thanks for being cool.
Thank you guys for being cool as always.
As always.
Coolest people I know.
Oh.
Bye, Ack.
Bye, Ack.
Bye.
All right.
So now that he's gone, are we going to address why I'm naked?
Why you're naked? You really want to talk about that?
No.
Ack.
Basically a scrotum.
Jack. You're pathetic.
The Acc and Jack Show.
Hardly Focus presents the Acc and Jack Show.
There'll be like a 12-minute, incredibly epic, beautiful, soulful rock opera that makes me want to weep. And then the next song is like a 2-minute jaunty country tune called like Flapjack Timmy.
I want to get your thoughts on the sticker mule thing that's happening. This is I haven't seen any like articles about it yet, and honestly I don't even know if it's one of those things that is going to be news service worthy, but my Threads account, and we're at Hardly Focused on Threads, people going nuts over this company Sticker Mule, which they make stickers, but like you can get t-shirts. It's one of those like custom apparel, custom wares, one of those services. And at least on Threads, because I'd like to think that Threads is the more, I don't want to say the more right or the more left leaning, but definitely the more rational compared to the
cesspool.
The cesspool that Twitter has become. And a lot of people have left Twitter for Threads. And I think even at this point, I think Threads now has more concurrent users than Twitter, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, Sticker Mule, people pissed off on Threads at the very least because of this email that was received by customers of Sticker Mule, the marketing emails that go out daily or every couple of days. And now I've never used Sticker Mule, so I don't know if the way in which this email was written, the way it was framed, is typical for their marketing, but this is what today's email said, the 15th of July. It says, quote, Donald Trump was shot. I don't care what your political views are, but the hate for Trump and his supporters has gone too far. People are terrified to admit they support Trump. I've been scared myself. Americans shouldn't live in fear. I support Trump. Many at Sticker Mule do. Many at Sticker Mule also support Biden. The political hate needs to stop. Hopefully this email helps. By the way, this week, get one shirt for $4, normally $19. I suggest buying one that shows you support Trump. The more people realize that millions of kind-hearted, compassionate people support Trump, the sooner the hate will end. Awesome people all over the world love Trump. Don't limit your friendships and diminish your happiness by indulging in political hate. Vocalize your support. Stop the hate. Anthony Costantino, co-founder, Sticker Mule. P.S. Discuss this message on X. Thank you, Twitter.
God. Yeah. That's a lot to digest.
I know. I just glazed over as you read that.
Yeah, but that's okay. So for, in my opinion, for a marketing email like this, and in this day and age, everybody, every company now wants to be like Wendy's when they're doing their marketing, when they're doing their social media, because Wendy's sort of perfected the art of just being crass and juvenile and, kind of firing back at everybody, but at the same time, getting their message across and getting people to do business with them. And then there's other companies like McDonald's kind of does well at it, but then there's other companies that do it and it's just like, it's not funny. It kind of misses the mark, and sometimes it's just ill-timed, some of their comments. This, I feel, it's obviously not snarky, but I feel like if you are the CEO of a company, and because there'll be like the smaller companies where the CEO will be the one that does the outreach. I again don't know if that's the case with Sticker Mule. From what I've seen on threads, the CEO is typically not the one who does this. They have a social media team that handles all of their marketing and all of this. So for the CEO to personally write the email and send it out is out of the ordinary. It's one of those things, man. Like, okay, you want to discuss the message on Twitter? Well, then use your Twitter account and do that. And voice your opinions there. Don't use the company's mailing list to do this. Because you're right. Like companies, if you feel like your company needs to make a statement on it and come out and say something, then okay. But then don't A, hawk your product, and then B, say, but you should, if you're going to buy one of our things, you should do it because you support this person. Like you're trying to come across as being on both sides. And then you're immediately then saying, look, people that work for the company support this guy. They also support that guy. You as the customer
you should buy these.
Yeah. You as the customer should buy and support the guy I'm supporting. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
It's a weird statement.
It is a weird statement. Yeah. And it's pissed off that their customers, so many people on threads are saying like, look, I use Sticker Mule. I'm a devout Sticker Mule customer. Not anymore with this.
Yeah. But also I'm just reminded of this one picture of this guy, clearly he's just standing there with a whole bunch of Trump 2024 merchandise, and he just kind of is quoted saying, I don't even like the guy, but this I make $100 per shirt.
Yeah, and what did he say? He's like when asked his name, he said, nah, or keep asking me that and I'll kick your ass.
Yeah, it's just I'm just reminded of that. That's what this story made me imagine, is that guy. It's yeah, it's an opportunity to sell the shirts, I guess, or stickers, whatever. It's a weird move, but it seems like an advertisement to me.
Yeah,
it obviously is, but
it's marketing. But if you want to say Sticker Mule, and I'm not an expert in social media marketing in the least, I would expect a company to say our organization condemns what happened on Saturday.
Yeah.
And not show support nor bash the candidate in question or support the other candidate. Just
I guess
if you want to speak out on it, the best way to do it without causing a PR disaster is condemn the events. Obviously, don't support the events. Condemn what happened. And then if you want to, okay, now this is me being on my soapbox, but you're hey, well, you buy something, well, donate whatever, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. It just,
But he's the founder?
Yeah, he's the co-founder of Sticker Mule.
I mean, isn't this why you have a business, though? So that you can just say whatever the hell you want and deal with the repercussions? Because it's a free market. It's a strange tactic. And I mean, it didn't work out for Mike Lindell. I don't know where he is. Where is he? Those pillows aren't anywhere anymore.
Nope.
You say that, but I still do hear My Pillow ads. I see them on, select TV channels, but maybe because I also listen to the AM news radio, and there is that's an older demographic
that is a radio that was broadcasted 30 years ago.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just listening to something that typically targets an older demographic, even though they're trying to bring more, younger blood in there. But you do hear the personalities hawking My Pillow, and they're I presume they're getting a nice financial cut for doing so. So it's just the things that we typically shy away from, that we're not actively engaging with and listening to, that where we're not hearing the for example, the My Pillow ads. So I don't know about Sticker Mule. I wouldn't say that like Sticker Mule is, an organization that's only exclusively used by, or largely used by, the right, or largely used by Trump.
No,
supporters.
that's why there's people who are now quitting, who are like deeply uncomfortable to work for somebody who supports one side or doesn't feel like, they're represented. Once you bring that into the workplace and you take such a stance, it's going to divide your customer base. It's going to probably divide your workforce. But at the end, that's where, okay, we can choose a different sticker company, and maybe it's better we know where they stand, so you can put money in people's pockets you'd rather support. Which is why typically people stay quiet. So when you getting, because I was like, when I saw it on your prep sheet, I was just curious why you were very passionate about why he would do it. Like there's a rule book he should follow when it's his company, but it's a crazy choice that I don't think is going to financially end well.
Yeah. I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to know what both you thought in the instance of, or in the case of,
I would have said, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it, bro.
Well, there you go. Should marketing be used for this purpose? Would it have been better suited for him to go on his own social media platform, assuming he's got a following on that, and go and
it's hard to
spew
know.
his views and opinions there?
I feel like it's never good for business to do this. Like either side. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in that he did get a bump.
I don't think it was a business decision. I think it was a fear decision.
Yeah.
I think people are very afraid of both sides, and
it just
they're worried
sparked emotion.
about
People got emotional, and you're seeing,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more so than like any other election. This is a very emotionally toxic like election, because you have a lot of the tactics used on both sides are just like, look how dangerous it would be if this person was in charge. Like, look, how dangerous it would be to have somebody who can't form sentences and is very clearly having problems. And then you have the other side. It's like, look how dangerous this guy is, who's incited violence and blah blah blah. Like, you have both sides that are just like completely terrified because they're thrown this narrative that if the other side is to win, like, we're fucked. Like, the world is just gonna revert to this different post, like this like Nazi era, or I don't know what the Trump or what the Biden era, like what that would be. But you know what I'm saying? It's like,
no, I do.
Both of these sides, both people are. So I think what happened was, I don't think this was a logic business post. I think this was him just being stressed out, fearful, and he acted out based on that, because there's no logic behind it. Because if there was, you would say, get a Trump shirt and get a Biden shirt. Like, that's a business choice right there.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, show your support by wearing who you support, by getting a T-shirt from Sticker Mule. Like, that's
code presidential 2024.
Yeah, I mean,
Butler
that way.
Butler. That's the code, Butler. I don't know. I think it's all custom made stuff, but like, it'd be a shirt that has both like Biden and Trump on it, and it just says, "I just hope both teams have fun."
Yeah. I just think that you are gonna be friends.
You didn't seem that interested when I told you, Jack, but I think maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was the first time that Elon Musk came on X and endorsed Trump for the first time after seeing whatever this weekend.
I tuned it out because I tune out anything having to do with Elon Musk and especially
I know that,
Twitter. But I thought he already
waters
had
it
that.
down.
Yeah.
I thought he didn't. So I could be wrong in that. It was the first time I thought like he just was so declarative and
I'd be more shocked if he came out and supported Biden.
I think I did quickly Google it though, and the Google told me it was the first time he publicly endorsed.
Yeah, I believe it.
But
yeah.
I don't know.
Right. So Erica Lewis on Threads, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I like how she put it. She said, received this email from Anthony Costantino, co-founder Sticker Mule, asking me to buy something because of the assassination attempt to profit off of this. And that's going back to that line in the email where he says, by the way, this week get one shirt for $4, normally $19. And
the 9/11 sale.
And then I suggest buying one that shows you support Trump. Like, to which I say, dude, fuck you. I don't care if you're the co-founder. Don't tell me what to buy.
That's dumb. Yeah. I don't want you to, even if it was like, buy a Biden shirt. I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
Well, I mean, marketing emails are just telling you what to buy.
They are. Yeah. I mean,
think about it.
But like,
they're just more subtle and subliminal messaging in there.
I want the marketing team to market that to me, not the CEO or the co-founder of the company.
You buy every single thing off every dumb Instagram ad you see, and it's some guy who's just telling you to buy this t-shirt, and you are a victim.
Listen, it's a shirt that has Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, and it's that shot from the dance when they're performing Silver Springs. And remember how many old people got a kick out of my shirt at Epcot?
Oh yeah, no, that one's fine. But I'm like, every damn day there's a new shirt at this house.
I'm not going to challenge you on
Shirts are important, I guess.
You're not even wearing one. Shut up.
Look what happened to me. You know, I'm not wearing one. I'm the weakest part of this podcast.
If only you had a good marketing email sent to you right now, you might be inclined to buy a shirt.
There's another sticker company called Avery, and they sent out their own marketing email today. The subject line was "No politics, just stickers," and in the body of the email, all it just says is, "We stick to stickers."
Well,
that's
fun.
Good.
See,
that's cute.
You know what? It gives other people opportunities to get their small business off the ground.
Yeah. See,
you should get in the sticker business right now.
So I need to stock up, first make, and then stock up on Hardly Focused stickers, because every day I'm somewhere.
Have you been using Sticker Mule for your stickers?
I'm not going to use Sticker Mule. I'm going to use someone else.
Wouldn't it be such a bummer if like Market Basket came out right now with such a like freak letter? And you're just like, damn it, I don't really have anywhere else to go.
Well, remember 10 years ago, we had the Battle of the Arthurs at Market Basket.
Yeah.
And that caused a whole big to-do. And there were people that supported the Arthur that we didn't like.
Yeah. But in the end, it didn't really have anything to do with me.
I think that's crazy because if you... I think that mindset is really weird to me. Like, because so-and-so supports this, I shouldn't do that anymore. Of course, I'm victim of it myself, but if you think about how weird it is, it's like, if you boil it down, like, you're not going to be able to, like, drink water. You're not going to be able to, like, eat certain foods from places. Like, your whole entire lifestyle, like, you'll have to throw out half of your shirts.
No, that's the thing.
Because,
like, it's yeah, we have no everything we buy. We have no idea really everything. You know,
the story behind it.
Right. We don't know where the founder, the owner, the CEO, wherever stands. Like thinking about it, but it does make it then challenging when it's so public, where they do take a stand that one you disagree with and you don't want to support with your money.
Right.
That does make it more of a challenge, which is why it's such a bizarre strategy, I guess. You know, like you said, I don't think it wasn't a sale strategy. It was just, you're seeing behind the curtain somebody who just had something to say and he has a company and now they're impacting each other. But
yeah,
I just
have to have that mode of thinking, because it's just like Chick-fil-A is a good example. You know, like everybody always is talking about like Chick-fil-A. It's like, it's good, but like also it's supporting bad. But
right.
But it's so good.
but the argument is, it's literally every company ever in the existence of life. They make something good and support something bad. Whatever, if you look at under a microscope, they do something. Whether or not it's like they support like child labor in different countries, or if they're supporting, the Salvation Army, who is very anti-gay, like everybody is supporting shit that you don't like,
right? In one way or another, even if there was the best of intentions there, if you really like audit them and go through at some place in the assembly line, there's something's falling through the cracks that you're helping, I guess, just by buying their product. But what are the alternatives? Well, the alternatives are we don't know, and it's good and bad too. But it helps when they help make your decision, I guess. Like
a little bit.
Yeah.
But
well, depending upon what it is,
But like, it's weird for me because I'm like, where do I draw the line? Because there's a lot of music.
That line,
like,
where do you?
There's lots of musicians, and I'm like, am I allowed to? All right, I'll talk about Alien Ant Farms. I can't listen to Alien Ant Farms without thinking about the accusations that the lead singer went through.
Right.
So like every time, like I've loved Alien Ant Farms for several years, like, ever since I was like a teenager, and now it's on my Spotify playlist. And now whenever like Wish or Movies comes up, I'm like, I just can't stop thinking of like the allegations that went through. So it's weird, like some things slip through the cracks and others don't.
Don't you think though, if you had just discovered them now and had never heard a song, you wouldn't have liked them?
Yes.
So
correct.
Maybe that's a line, like if you, for art at least, if you, I don't know. Now that sounds awful.
I mean, we have our
I don't
own
know. I
with-
guess, yeah.
we have our
I'm
own-
like, well,
No, I think
have
that's a very smart thing. I think you nailed it. I think that's what it is.
We have the same moral conflict with Brand New. I mean,
I don't really have a moral conflict. I love them. I know.
That's the moral.
Jack has one. But they've.
I mean, I still love them too.
It sucks.
It sucks that like for me just have the thought in my head that if I'm out anywhere, and this has never happened before, I'll say that right now, but just to have to think like if I'm out wearing a Brand New shirt somewhere, that there's the possibility that someone's gonna stop and give me shit for supporting who they're going to claim as a pedophile.
Yeah, well, that's
Alien Ant Farm. I hate for other reasons, but that's neither here nor there.
If Taylor Swift like killed somebody right now, I'd probably still love her. I don't know. It sucks. Like, but she already did this to me.
What's the worst thing that Taylor Swift could do that would be what would do it for you?
Animal abuse.
Is there anything
that will do it every time? I will, solid. And that's what sucks, because like that's not great, right? Where I'm like, oh, I'll turn off everybody with that one, even if you already meant something to me. That is like nope. But why?
Yeah,
but then I don't have that same empathy for human, which is like that's my own like I gotta.
Don't even get me started.
I know.
I can't tell you how many times I see a picture of like somebody who's like old and on the street and like they're cold, and I'm just like, oh, that sucks. And then I see like a kitten,
and then you're giving $10 at PetSmart every time you walk in there.
Or like, those pictures of like dogs that have like only one eye, and I'm like crying and losing my shit.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people have that. I don't know what to make of it, but I got it.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm just like, oh, it's so strange.
Well, I really want to up the sticker game for this show so I can go and just put them on things. Case in point today, because I want to put them in the places where it's not easy to take them off. Like I'm using the bathroom at Cumbies today, and someone stuck a sticker up on the little air freshener thing that's like above the door, or I want to stick it on like the back of a road sign, like at night, like nonchalantly. I just want to, that's the kind of marketing that I want to do. I guess I'm personally not going to go with sticker mule just because their co-founder just happens to be a mule himself.
That's your God-given right, Jack. You don't have to. You can
Only
go to
toll booths were still around.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. There were so many we tend to do that now. The weekends are filled with, oh, that's a good spot for a sticker. That's high visibility. There's like a couple, there, but not too many where you blend in, but a couple where you're not going to get in trouble. Like there's a few, so they're not going to go after the three of you for littering on that thing.
Yeah.
I have learned that handing out stickers is not the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Because then people put them where they think is a good idea, and it's never a good idea.
True.
Unless you work for a radio station.
It's still no, and nobody really wants it. They do, but they don't. I take if somebody hands it to me, I take it, and I want them to feel like they good. I could never say no to anybody, and then I end up with so much junk.
All right, Nate. Nate, why aren't you wearing a shirt?
Okay, so at the beginning of the show, I was wearing a white shirt, and then Acc was wearing a white shirt, and then Jack was wearing a blue shirt, and then they made like the joke of like, oh, like who's gonna change, blah blah blah, like Jack should wear a white shirt, and then it's like, actually, one of you with the white shirts should change your shirt, and then I was like, yo, dude, it's like 85, maybe 90 degrees in this room. I'm taking my shirt off. Hell yeah.
I want to do that.
Take your shirt off?
Yeah. Why don't I get to pod like that?
Free the nipple, baby.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, I don't think
totally fine. I don't know if YouTube will think it's fine.
That's true.
YouTube might say no.
I'm not going to say
True.
no. I relish any opportunity to
You
see
could
Becky's
put this
tits.
on OnlyFans. This podcast can move.
It could be a sticker.
It could be only fee hands. Get it?
No.
There we go. I just Bonaducci'd you.
Yep. There we go. Anyway, that was
Daddy Bonaducci!
that was fun.
That was fun.
good. That was cathartic as always.
It was.
I feel sick. I just want everything to be better.
Yeah.
Well, I'm stressed the fuck out.
I'm silently stressed. I have no idea how to process.
They both suck. So they both do shitty things. They're both garbage. I was talking to my friend about this. Like, it's going to take something crazy to happen for the tides to shift. And then Trump gets shot.
I can't believe it happened. It's just so
weird.
It's crazy.
It's both crazy, but also weird that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, I said that earlier in the episode.
Yeah,
it's just this.
It's both of those things,
and the fact not just with Trump, but just
anyone
that it hasn't happened. Yeah,
I know, because everybody's so angry.
Well,
and so armed.
Yeah, I mean, think about when. So Kennedy was shot in 1963. Reagan was shot in 1981. That's less than 20 years.
But you're just talking just presidents. I mean,
RFK got shot just a few years later, and then famous figures like Martin Luther King, I think, in the same year as RFK. So there's been high profile assassinations, but for a president. He wanted to say living president, but that's sort of redundant because the whole point of you're not gonna shoot a dead one. I mean, you could.
Could.
But it's been over 40 years since a president was shot where a gun was fired and the bullet struck the president.
And it feels like that would be because security just got so much better. Protocol changed. Like, they just don't have access to them. They might have access, right, to governor, I don't know, or who was, I forget names. I'm so bad with this.
Governor of.
No, but I mean at the baseball game, there was a politician. A couple that got shot.
Governor Green Monster.
We were just talking about.
Oh, Gabby Giffords?
Yeah, accessibility. I mean, because there's not a lot of security in some of the non-presidential government
Right.
positions, right? And so those, I'd be curious how many foiled plans happened in, I'm going to call them a smaller role. They're different roles, obviously,
Yeah.
and smaller, but
The
you
fo-
just don't think you would have any ability to even access the top dog, not, you know, the candidates, whatever,
Yeah.
former presidents. It would just, I would think security just got that much better because I don't think people have gotten that much saner.
No, they've got worse.
Yeah, and there's been, you know, I've been questioning this, and I guess sources have come out saying that this is not actually the case, but I've questioned the, I guess, level of protection, the quality of protection that a former president gets, because obviously they're going to have a detail for the rest of their life, but it's like, okay, what is that detail in comparison to a sitting president? Where the sitting president, you assume, is going to have more at any given time, but then, you know, now the reports have come out saying no matter the detail, it's based on the environment and the
really?
crowd. And well, isn't that what
No, that's what somebody was
Bongino
saying. That's
said
what,
that. Dan Bongino
no,
said
he was
that.
saying that's what it should be.
It should be.
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's different. I assume it is if you're a former president versus a former president running to be the new president versus former president running to be the new president before you're actually nominated, the official nominee.
And there was controversy too with Trump when he was in office about the amount of security detail he had and the money that was being spent on it in comparison to Obama, for example. But then I would also argue, yeah, but like Trump is a very outspoken individual who
you take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, well, it's not just that. It's, well, the dude says and does a lot of things that would warrant the need to have more protection. Right.
He's very polarizing.
Yeah, like Obama. Sure, Obama had his critics, but he also wasn't both actively pissing people off every day while at the same time.
Well, he was pissing Trump off.
Right, but saying things that were driving his own rabid fan base even more rabid. Like,
Right.
okay, that sort of justifies
But you had
why
to protect
you need
him
it.
too because he was black. And you just don't know if you're just going to have people who just want to shoot him because of that.
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about, like, I'm surprised that this hasn't happened at all with any of the former presidents and not just Trump, but like, America's a fucked up place when it comes to racism, and to have even a half black president. I'm surprised that we didn't. I mean, I'm sure if you go and you look at your list of, attempts made towards Obama that were, low level by comparison.
There was a letter with
that
powder.
letter. I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
And that he also had that threat. Yeah. There's a lot of attempts on former presidents too that were on that list. And so I think Obama's was in 2018. There might have even been one prior to that too. I feel like he kept getting letters.
Meanwhile, Jimmy Carter's like, how's that bill fell on me?
And there was one other thing Obama, I don't know. I felt like he had one other threat. Yeah.
Well, to quote what people on Threads at Hardly Focused on Threads were saying, I don't want to live in interesting times anymore. Although I countered that with, would you rather live in uncertain times? Because boy, was I sick of hearing that 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. That sucked.
I just don't want to do this.
No, I don't want.
I want to just hibernate for a year.
Yeah.
And then just come back and be like, what's up?
And you wonder why I've never wanted to procreate.
No, I understand it. I do.
This is and
I have so much anxiety over it. I can't then take on someone else's anxiety with it, like a child.
Yeah.
But I hate that.
And there's a part of me that thinks we'll be looking back at July 13th, right? Was that Saturday? We're going to look back at July 13th and say, somehow we had it easier.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, like, remember when it was just like, oh my God, the president put mustard on his hamburger? That's crazy.
no, that
like,
is crazy.
That's
mustard.
And then it's like now it's like,
look, sometimes I only
what we have.
sometimes I only put mustard on my burgers. Like I get like people like
I mean,
ketchup
but
and
that's
mustard.
what Obama did that, and people went fucking crazy.
I mean, sometimes
You're like he's a psychopath. He only puts mustard on it. He's not fit to serve the country.
Sometimes I'll use condiments that aren't ketchup for my French fries. Mustard,
Mayo.
honey mustard, mayo,
I love
barbecue sauce,
French fries in mayonnaise.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty much Chick-fil-A sauce.
but
It's mostly mayonnaise.
But that's what I
love
want to.
mayonnaise.
That's what I want to go back to. Though.
But we're never going to. I just think it's because of social media and you see everything. Everybody's got a phone. I just think by nature that's just going to be divisive.
Thanks, Obama. Exactly.
It might not even be. I mean, it's the people, but I don't think you ever can like put it back.
You can't. There
back
is no
in the
going
tube.
back.
No.
No, you can't.
But like, how do we then deal with this?
I mean, I don't want to say I'm looking forward to another Trump presidency, but I said this the night that Trump was elected in 2016, back when we had a Twitter account. I posted on it. It's been a while since, and it got traction. I said it's been a while since we've had a one-term president. You didn't know what was going to happen, and it turned out being a one-term president. And that's a statistic right now because when was the last one-term president? George H.W. Bush. Every president thereafter served multiple terms. Trump could very well be a statistic next to Stephen Grover Cleveland.
Yep.
First president since 1800s to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. I mean, that's like the only. But I'm going to say that's a positive, but that is one thing you're going to see in the history books next to the multiple impeachments and the 34 felonies and what have you. Can you imagine that though? Stephen Cleveland.
Stevie Cleveland.
I learned last night that Grover Cleveland's real name is Stephen. I thought like
Most of the president names we know are nicknames or middle names.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
Right?
Yeah.
Fake like their hair.
Jimmy Carter's just like, I'm Jimmy.
He's James.
He's James.
He was a one-term president. And he needs to hold out. I've said it before, I'll say it again. He needs to hold out until November because his birthday is in late October, like mine. He needs to hold out, and that's why I'm saying November, because that's a safe bet. He needs to hold until November so he can be the first president to live to 100 years old. That would be a badass.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. That's a badass accomplishment right there. So, Nate, thank you for sticking around and joining me. And I'm sorry it's so hot where you are. I hope that device that you have helped.
I just think it's funny that last time I was on here, I was talking about like putting an ice pack on a fan, and then it turns out Lowe's actually sells that. There's a little box where you put an ice pack in it, and then the fan blows it.
Yeah, it looks like a bug zapper. But you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? This week though.
And it's a hot one.
Wait, did you?
What?
No.
Is it hot in here or is it just me?
No. Okay. Rebecca, I love you. Thank you.
Yeah, I love you too.
For the rest of you, I love you as well. Thank you for listening to this now actless installment of the Acc and Jack Show. We'll talk at you next time, hopefully under better, more positive, less polarizing, less tiptoeing circumstances. See ya, bye.
Goodbye.
May not have happened.
This has been a presentation of the Solid Listen Podcast Network.